Imagine this: you're over 60, enjoying your golden years, maybe sipping coffee on the porch or flipping through a favorite book. You've been eating fruit your whole life. Those sweet, colorful bites of nature that everyone says are good for you. But what if I told you that a simple piece of fruit, something as innocent as a banana or a handful of grapes, could quietly raise your risk of a stroke while you sleep? No warning signs, no symptoms. You go to bed feeling perfectly fine, and the next morning you wake up unable to speak, stand, or move one side of your body. It sounds shocking, doesn't it? As a brain doctor with years of experience, I've seen this happen far too often, and it's not always tied to smoking, junk food, or the usual suspects. Sometimes it's fruit, yes, fruit, that can turn risky as we age. After 60, your body changes in ways you might not notice. Your kidneys slow down, your liver processes things differently, your blood vessels stiffen, and your brain becomes more vulnerable. Add in medications, nighttime dehydration, or even slower circulation, and suddenly, that healthy fruit you've trusted for decades could become a silent threat. Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 common fruits that might be doing more harm than good for seniors, especially if you eat them at the wrong time or in the wrong way. My goal isn't to scare you. It's to empower you with practical, science-backed knowledge to protect your brain and heart. If this topic resonates with you, please leave a comment with the word "aware" to let me know you're taking action, and consider subscribing to our Senior Envision channel for more tips to keep you thriving. Let's dive in with a fruit we all know and love: bananas. Bananas are like an old friend, aren't they? Soft, sweet, easy to grab, and perfect for a quick snack. You've probably been eating them since you were a kid, maybe slicing them into cereal or tossing them into a lunch bag. They're packed with nutrients like potassium and fiber, and they feel like a safe, healthy choice. But after 60, bananas, especially those overripe, speckled ones, might not be as harmless as you think. Here's why. As bananas ripen, their starches break down into sugars, which is why they get sweeter and softer. That mushy, brown spotted banana might taste like dessert, but it has a high glycemic index, meaning it can spike your blood sugar fast. For younger folks, this might not be a big deal, but as we age, our bodies don't handle blood sugar swings as well. Your pancreas might not pump out insulin as efficiently, your kidneys aren't as quick to balance potassium, and your blood vessels are less flexible. That sugar spike from an overripe banana can raise your blood pressure, stress your heart, and even disrupt your heart rhythm because of the high potassium load. Let me share a story about Margaret, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Illinois. Margaret loved starting her day with 1 or 2 overripe bananas, sometimes blending them into a smoothie with a splash of milk. She thought it was the perfect healthy breakfast. But one morning, she woke up feeling dizzy, her speech slurred, and her husband noticed she wasn't herself. He rushed her to the ER, where doctors diagnosed a mild ischemic stroke, a blockage in a blood vessel to her brain. Her blood pressure had spiked overnight, and her potassium levels were higher than they should have been. The doctors explained that while bananas weren't the sole cause, the combination of their sugar, potassium, and Margaret's morning dehydration created a dangerous mix. After that scare, Margaret made a simple change. She switched to smaller, greener bananas, eaten only after drinking water, and pairing them with a bit of protein, like a handful of nuts. Within weeks, her energy was better, her blood pressure stabilized, and she felt more like herself. The lesson here: bananas aren't the enemy, but overripe ones, eaten in large amounts or on an empty stomach, can push an aging body toward trouble. If you're over 60, stick to firmer bananas, keep portions small, and pair them with something to slow the sugar rush. And here's the kicker: bananas aren't the only fruit that can sneak up on you. Let's talk about grapes next. Grapes seem so innocent, don't they? Those tiny, juicy bursts of sweetness you toss into a salad, share with the grandkids, or nibble on while watching TV. They're a staple in so many households, and they feel like a light, healthy snack. But for seniors, grapes, especially the seedless, extra sweet varieties, can pack a surprising punch. The issue lies in their sugar content. Grapes are essentially little sugar bombs, loaded with glucose and fructose that hit your bloodstream fast. When you were younger, your body could handle that quick sugar surge, but after 60, your insulin response slows, and your blood vessels become more delicate. That sudden spike doesn't just give you a burst of energy. It stresses your brain and heart in ways you might not feel right away. Inside your blood vessels, that sugar causes tiny bits of inflammation, like microscopic swelling. Over time, this damages the vessel walls, and your body responds by forming small clots to repair them. These clots are harmless at first, but day after day, they build up, increasing the risk of a blockage in a critical artery. For someone over 60, that could mean waking up one morning unable to find your balance or struggling to form words. Let me tell you about Evelyn, a 79-year-old retired music teacher from Colorado. Evelyn was sharp, independent, and loved her daily routine, which included a mid-morning bowl of red grapes while she read the paper. Some days, she'd eat 2 cups without thinking twice, assuming fruit couldn't hurt. But one day, while writing a birthday card for her grandson, her hand started trembling. A few minutes later, she couldn't remember how to spell congratulations. Her daughter rushed her to the ER, where doctors diagnosed a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke. Evelyn's blood sugar was high, and her labs showed low-grade inflammation and early signs of pre-diabetes she didn't know she had. The grapes, eaten in large amounts on an empty stomach, were contributing to the problem. My advice to patients like Evelyn is simple: enjoy grapes, but in moderation. A small handful is enough, and always pair them with something like almonds or a slice of cheese to slow the sugar absorption. Avoid eating them at night when your body's blood flow needs to stay stable, not deal with sugar spikes. If you're diabetic or on blood pressure meds, check with your doctor before making grapes a daily habit. It's amazing how something so small can become a big risk if you're not careful. Now, let's move on to pineapple, that sweet, tropical treat we all love after dinner or as a dessert substitute. Pineapple feels like a healthy indulgence, with its bright flavor and juicy texture. But for seniors, especially those on medications or dealing with circulation issues, pineapple can create a perfect storm for stroke risk. First, let's talk about bromelain, a natural enzyme in pineapple that's often praised for aiding digestion. In small amounts, bromelain can help break down proteins, but in larger doses, or when combined with blood thinners or clotting medications, it can disrupt your body's ability to form clots properly. This might sound like a good thing, but if your blood becomes too thin, it raises the risk of a brain bleed, a type of stroke that's much harder to recover from. On top of that, pineapple is high in sugar, with a glycemic index that can flood your bloodstream quickly, especially if you eat it after dinner when your body's metabolism is slowing down. That sugar lingers, stressing your blood vessels while you sleep. And then there's the acidity. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits you'll find in the grocery store, and for many seniors, it can trigger silent acid reflux at night, even without the telltale burning sensation. This reflux can allow tiny amounts of stomach acid to enter your airway while you sleep, reducing oxygen to your brain. Low oxygen levels overnight are directly linked to early morning strokes, which are often the most severe. Let me share the story of Clara, a 77-year-old retired choir director from North Carolina. Clara prided herself on healthy habits, swapping out cookies and cake for a few slices of fresh pineapple after dinner. She thought she was making a smart choice. But one morning, she woke up dizzy, unable to walk straight, and her daughter noticed her speech was slurred. At the hospital, scans confirmed a small posterior stroke, affecting her balance and memory. Her blood sugar was elevated, her platelet levels were off, and tests showed signs of reflux-induced oxygen drops during sleep. The pineapple's sugar, acid, and bromelain, combined with her evening routine, had tipped the scales. My advice: enjoy pineapple earlier in the day, in small portions, and never on an empty stomach. Avoid it before bed, and if you're on blood thinners, talk to your doctor first. Your brain needs steady oxygen and blood flow at night, not surprises from a fruit you thought was safe. If pineapple was a surprise, wait until you hear about watermelon. It's the ultimate summer fruit, right? Light, juicy, refreshing, and 90% water. Most people think it's the perfect way to stay hydrated on a warm day. But for seniors, watermelon can be deceiving. Here's the catch: watermelon acts like a natural diuretic, meaning it makes you urinate more. For younger folks, this might not be an issue, but many seniors are already on diuretics or blood pressure meds that pull fluid from the body. If you eat a big slice of watermelon in the evening, especially after taking your meds, you could be setting yourself up for overnight dehydration. When you're dehydrated, your blood thickens, flowing more slowly, almost like syrup. This increases the chance of clot formation in narrow, aging arteries, especially during sleep when your blood pressure naturally dips. That's a recipe for a silent stroke. Let me tell you about Howard, an 82-year-old retired postal worker from Indiana. Howard was active, walking daily and avoiding sweets to stay healthy. His evening ritual included 2 or 3 large slices of watermelon to stay hydrated. But one morning, he woke up dizzy and collapsed trying to stand. At the ER, his blood pressure was dangerously low, and labs showed dehydration and thickened blood. A scan confirmed a small ischemic stroke, likely caused by a clot forming overnight. Howard had no idea that watermelon, which he saw as healthy, was pulling water out of his system, especially when combined with his diuretic medication. My advice for watermelon lovers: eat it earlier in the day, in moderation, and pair it with electrolytes, like a pinch of salt or a sip of coconut water, to help retain hydration. If you're on water pills, check with your doctor before making watermelon a regular habit. And watch for signs like dry mouth, morning dizziness, or feeling off balance when you wake up. These could be your body's way of saying something's not right. Next up is oranges, a fruit we've all been told is great for vitamin C and heart health. A glass of orange juice with breakfast, a sliced orange at lunch, or even one tucked into a Christmas stocking. It's hard to imagine anything more wholesome. But for seniors, oranges, especially orange juice, can quietly interfere with medications in a dangerous way. It's not just the sugar, though a single glass of orange juice can spike your blood sugar fast. The real issue is a compound called furanocoumarin, found in citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruit, and Seville oranges. This compound messes with the enzymes in your liver that process many common medications, like blood pressure drugs, statins for cholesterol, or blood thinners. When those enzymes are disrupted, your body might hold onto too much of the drug, making it too strong, or fail to process it, leaving your blood unstable. This can lead to dangerously low blood pressure, muscle inflammation, brain fog, or an increased stroke risk. Let me share the story of Albert, a 79-year-old retired bus driver from Georgia. Albert loved his morning ritual of fresh, squeezed orange juice with breakfast, taken alongside his heart and cholesterol meds. He called it his sunshine in a glass. But over time, he started feeling dizzy and lightheaded when standing, and some mornings he felt confused. One day, he collapsed getting out of his recliner. Doctors found he'd had a minor ischemic stroke, and his blood work showed dangerously high levels of his medications, even though he hadn't changed his doses. The culprit: the orange juice was slowing his liver's ability to process the drugs, causing them to build up in his system. My advice: limit orange juice or skip it if you're on statins, calcium channel blockers, or blood thinners. Don't mix citrus with your pills, and ask your doctor if you're unsure. If you love citrus flavor, try a splash of lemon or lime in water instead. They have fewer interactions. It's incredible how something as simple as an orange can tip the balance in an aging body. Finally, let's talk about mangoes, that soft, juicy tropical treat that feels like a reward. Mangoes are delicious, but for seniors, especially those on medications for blood pressure, heart rhythm, or cholesterol, they can pose a hidden risk. 1 cup of ripe mango contains nearly 45 grams of sugar, more than a donut. That massive sugar load can create inflammation in your arteries, especially those leading to your brain, causing tiny cracks in the vessel walls. Your body tries to patch these cracks with clots, which can block blood flow in narrowed, aging arteries, leading to a stroke. Mangoes also contain a compound called mangiferin, which can interfere with your liver's ability to process medications, particularly those using the cytochrome P450 enzyme system. This includes many heart and blood pressure drugs, causing them to build up in your system. You might feel dizzy, weak, or experience a sudden drop in blood pressure or change in heart rhythm without warning. Let me tell you about William, an 83-year-old retired firefighter from Nevada. William decided to eat clean, swapping cookies for dried mango slices every afternoon. He was also on meds for atrial fibrillation and high blood pressure. After a few weeks, he started waking up lightheaded, and one morning, he collapsed getting out of bed, his face drooping on one side. At the hospital, scans showed a mild ischemic stroke, and blood tests revealed abnormally high medication levels, despite him taking the correct doses. The daily mango was slowing his liver's ability to clear the drugs. My advice: enjoy mango in small bites, only during the day and never before bed, especially not dried mango, which is even more concentrated. Pair it with protein or fat, like nuts or cheese, to slow sugar absorption, and check with your doctor if you're on heart or blood pressure meds. So, where does this leave us? You might be feeling a bit overwhelmed, wondering if any fruit is safe. That's a valid concern, but here's the good news. You don't have to give up fruit. It's about eating smarter, not avoiding them altogether. Fruits that were once your allies might need a second look as you age, especially when mixed with medications or eaten at the wrong time. The key is moderation, small portions, earlier in the day, paired with protein or healthy fats to slow sugar absorption. Always check with your doctor, especially if you're on medications. Your brain, heart, and independence are worth protecting, and a few small changes can make a big difference. If this has opened your eyes to how even healthy habits can shift with age, leave a comment with the word "where" to let us know you're taking charge of your health. Subscribe to Senior Envision for more practical tips, and remember, you've made it this far with strength and wisdom. Now's the time to eat wisely and keep thriving.